What's up guys, Readiness Reviews here with you again. We all know that military surplus firearm collecting has become a very difficult hobby to participate in. Supplies of surplus firearms are low and prices are high. In today's video, I'm going to give you my opinion of the top 3 military surplus firearms to get right now. In this day and age, Milsurp stock dries up very quickly, and I wouldn't want you guys to miss out on these 3 surplus firearms while they are available. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to give this video a thumbs up if you like seeing these military surplus-centric firearm videos here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future content, and let me know what your list is of the top surplus firearms available right now. In this top 3 list, my number 3 is actually more of a category of firearm, and that category is Czech surplus handguns. Right now, here at the end of 2023, there are several Czech surplus handguns available on the market. Both the CZ50 and CZ70 handguns, chambered in .32 ACP, can be found on the surplus market right now. Of course, these handguns were made in Czechoslovakia, and they were used for both police and military service. Both the CZ50 and the CZ70 are available from a couple C&R dealers at the moment. Prices on these handguns range from about $300 to $350. Back a few years ago, you could knock about $100 off that, but any surplus handgun coming in at that around $300 price point I think is still a pretty good pickup these days. I know that J&G Sells has CZ50s in quantity, and then Royal Tiger Imports has CZ50s and CZ70s if you're looking for one of those. In general, these handguns are very fun shooters. They are quite similar to the Walther PP and PPK pistols. They are accurate, reliable, and if you wanted to EDC a Milsurp firearm, these guys are pretty thin and overall compact. I don't have that much confidence in the .32 auto chambering when it comes to a self-defense situation, but if these firearms were good enough for military and police, I suppose they could be good enough for you as well. If you don't like the admittedly underpowered CZ52 or CZ70, we can upgrade things a little bit to the far more substantial CZ82. The quite larger and robust CZ82 is chambered in the 9x18 Makarov cartridge, double-stacked 12-round magazine. They have excellent sights, a decent enough trigger, and these are actually one of the newest firearms that qualify as Curo and Relic. My particular example here was made in 1990, and yet if you have a Curo and Relic license, you can have one of these shipped straight to your door, just like any other C&R firearm. The price point on the CZ82 does come in a little bit higher than the CZ50. Recently, these have been falling in that $300 to $400 price range, but sales do pop up, so that might be something to keep an eye out for. Currently, both Atlantic Firearms and AIM Surplus have CZ82s. I've owned these firearms for several years at this point, and they get no complaints from me. The CZ82 truly is a great shooting firearm, as long as you're okay with that 9x18 Makarov cartridge. Number 2 on our list of the top 3 feels a little bit like beating a dead horse, because I've been singing the praises of these particular rifles for a couple years at this point, and that is Swiss surplus rifles. Anytime I'm putting together a list of Milsurp recommendations, Swiss rifles absolutely have to be a part of it. These rifles are beautifully crafted, precision machined, ultra accurate, and just all around fantastic shooting rifles. Now the one I have here is a Gewehr 1911, but I would lump all of the straight pull Swiss rifles into this category. The K11 carbine, the most excellent K31, your G11 rifle are all outstanding firearms at what I think is a extreme value price point. At the time of filming, the prices on these guns are between about $400 and $600, depending on which model you're looking at and who the seller is. That is still a very reasonable price point in my opinion. These guns are worth every cent of that kind of money. Right now, Swiss rifles are available in several places. Edelweiss Arms has a fantastic selection. They list each rifle individual, so you know exactly what firearm you're getting, and the prices are competitive with anyone else on the market. You can also find these over at Classic Firearms. Century Arms still have some K31s on their website that come with an accessory pack, including an extra magazine, I believe, and a sling. Centerfire System had a good stock of them recently, but last I looked, they were all sold out. Royal Tiger Imports does offer these guns as well, though. And just like everyone else, the Swiss rifles that are listed on Royal Tiger Imports are coming from Switzerland, not Ethiopia, like some of RTI's other offerings. For a K31, you're going to be looking at $500 to $600. For the G11 and the G9611, you're going to be looking at that $400 to $500 price point. And again, for the K11 carbine, $400 to $500. Who knows what Black Friday has in store though? I wouldn't be surprised one bit if there are some killer deals on these rifles over the coming holiday season. Our Swiss surplus rifles are fed with a 6-round detachable magazine. They are chambered in the 7.5 by 55mm cartridge and load using a 6-round stripper clip. I'll be the first to tell you the ammunition for these rifles is a little bit expensive, but at least for the most part it is available, and you can actually get a lot of value out of reloading for these firearms. Number 1 on our list of the top 3 Milsurps available right now, in my opinion, this particular pistol has probably been the top Milsurp of 2023. We are talking the post-war aluminum frame Walther P38 pistols, chambered in 9mm. These handguns cause a lot of excitement in the surplus market because we haven't seen large imports of Walther P38s in a very long time. The market has been flooded with these things for months, and they are still readily available. Price point on these is a little bit higher, coming into that $450 to $550 price point, but you were getting a lot of gun for that kind of money. These have a single stacked 8-round magazine, chambered in 9mm parabellum, which is of course a standard NATO cartridge. 9mm is ubiquitous. You can find it everywhere. It is quite possibly the most affordable centerfire cartridge available, period. So if you drop that about $500 bomb cost on one of these, they are super affordable to shoot. As I said, these are post-war P38s, so they were made after World War II. That means they don't have that bonus collector value of your World War II P38s, but in function, they are no less of a firearm. The aluminum frame actually makes them a little bit lighter weight. All things considered, they are reliable firearms. We do have one caveat when it comes to accuracy though. Look how tall the front sight is. That is a very high blade. I don't know if this is the same experience everybody's been having with these, but my gun shoots super, super low, and I attribute that to the front sight being so tall. The front sight on mine is marked with a 0, and I've heard that these front sights come in several different sizes. In my case, I may need to replace that front sight with a shorter one in order to correct the point of aim on this example. If you know a gun is consistently shooting low or high though, it's not that difficult to train yourself to correct it on the fly and just aim a little high. I've had the pleasure to pull the trigger on this one, and I am very happy with my purchase. So the post-war P38s do get a recommendation for me. I really do think they are worth it if you're a big nerd like me and just love the P38 design. If you compare this directly with a modern firearm in that same $500 price point, the modern firearm is certainly going to come out on top, but it won't have all the style points that this German P38 brings to the table. So those are our top 3. I can't leave you guys with just 3 firearms though. We do have some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list. This first one is very time sensitive because I'm pretty sure these firearms are going to dry out very quickly. But right now there are post-war Walther PP pistols available. These post-war examples, which I don't have one, are coming in at $500 to $600, and at this point in time, I know they have them at Centerfire Systems and Royal Tiger Imports, so if you've been looking for Walther PP, that might be something to look into. Carcano rifles have been one of the most abundant surplus rifles available these past few years, but if you have yet to pick up a Carcano or two for your personal collection, you can still do so right now at very reasonable prices. The M91 Mosquito rifles chambered in 6.5 are still available from J&G Sales and Royal Tiger Imports. They come in at about $200 price point, but these are definitely a rifle to keep an eye out for sales on because sometimes they drop closer to $100. And for $100, why not add a couple of these rifles to your collection? 6.5 Carcano is by no means cheap ammo to shoot, but it is being loaded by a couple different people at the moment, and PPU puts out shipments on a fairly regular basis, so it's not impossible to find. The carbines especially are so light and handy. The Mosquito carbines are the most abundant Carcanos available, but all variants of Carcanos are coming in at value prices. Basically, any Carcano you would want, carbine to long rifle, can be had for $200 to $300, depending of course on condition. There will be a point in time when we'll look back on the good old days of Carcanos and say, I remember when you could pick one of those up for $200 when they're being sold everywhere for $400, $500, $600. It's just a matter of time. Surplus rifles are their most affordable when they are being imported. Once importations stop due to either legal reasons or the supply just drying up, prices on Milsurps go up, and we're lucky enough to be in a time where Carcanos are still super available. I can't make a Milsurp list without mentioning a Tokarev. I love the Tokarev pistol. It might be my overall favorite surplus handgun design. They are chambered in the Screaming Fast 7.62 by 25mm cartridge. They were made by countries all over and around the Soviet Union during the Cold War, but the only variant of Tokarev that is available at the moment at decent prices are Yugo M57s. The M57 can still be picked up for about $300 to $350. I think at the moment, Old Western Scrounger has some of these, and I know J&G Sales has them in stock as well. It might not be Romanian, or Russian, or Chinese, or Polish, but the M57 is still essentially a Tokarev, and if you don't have a Tokarev, this would be a solid firearm to add to your collection. The last honorable mention that I have is another firearm that I haven't added to my collection, but if you're going to get one, now's probably the time to do it. I see this being a very short-lived period of time where these are available. That's going to be German-made, Portuguese contract Kar 98K Mausers. They were made by Germany for Portugal, chambered in the 8mm Mauser cartridge. Centerfire Systems has them in stock currently. They are the most expensive firearm that I will mention in this video. They start at about $900 and go all the way up to about $1,600, but you will very rarely have the opportunity to add a Portuguese contract Kar 98K to your collection, and so I thought they were worth a mention. As a bonus, you can actually get a rifle with a matching bayonet from Centerfire Systems right now, but they ain't cheap. So those are my top 3 Milsurps to pick up right now, plus a few honorable mentions. We are at the time of the year where deals are to be had. Black Friday is right around the corner. Last year, I put out this video talking about where to look for the best Black Friday deals, and I think that video still stands strong this year. Those will still be the websites that I'm keeping an eye on. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I would definitely suggest checking it out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. That helps the video out with the Google algorithm. And trust me, gun content needs all the help it can get on that front. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future firearms content. I want to know what you guys thought about the list. Was 3 guns not enough? What firearm do you think should have made it? And I will catch you guys in the next video. See you then. Peace.